What's going on, Colts Nation? I'm Lawrence Owen. This is Colts Law, and I'm sorry I'm late. Wyatt, sorry, man. And everybody else watching, I was late because my OBS was acting really funny, right? It was telling me, normally you get like a bar or something, showing you your decibels on how loud you are. I'm not getting anything, in my OBS. And then next thing you know, I do a test record, and it's showing sound, but it's not showing it for my OBS, which has had me all kind of confused. Appreciate you, Wyatt, for letting me know that it is good. It's just an OBS issue, so I might have to get a hold of my OBS provider. But we're coming into this, and, my question is not just NFL-wise, because I think in general, when it comes to the Colts' most underappreciated player in general in the NFL, Colts fans generally are going to say Kenny Moore, right? I'm talking about inside the Colts Nation fan base themselves. What is the most unappreciated player on the Colts roster? That's what I'm going to talk about today. I want your guys' opinion as well. Obviously, after I get through my rant on, who they are, then I'm going to get into the chat. I want to appreciate everyone here in the live chat, including Lucas, who just dropped a super chat. It's going to pop up right here any moment. Law Dog can't stay long, but wanted to say, what's up? Well, what's going on, Lucas? See, there you go. It popped right up. Man, I'm just glad you showed up in the first place. Now, before I get started, I just want to say, please smash that like button, hit subscribe if you're not subscribed, tag that notification bell if you're not notified, or so that you are notified next time I go live or upload a video. Don't forget to use the drop box down here in the description below my video because, hey, I got my Patreon there, right? My Patreon. I need 15 Patreons total. I got 10. I've got 10, 15, and I start doing live streams, kind of just chatting with you guys. You guys could jump on my Patreon live streams. I think that'd be a really fun thing to do. The other thing is, don't forget, just like Lucas right here did this super chat, there's another super chat down here. I would prefer if you use that. Because I get 96% or something like that of that super chat. Where if you use the YouTube super chat, I only get 45% of that. Don't forget, there is also the link to my merch shop. Make sure to check out the Colts Law merch shop. The link is in the description of this video. There are a ton of high quality, reasonably priced items there that you can choose from. And all you got to do is just click one button and you can go and check out all these great merchandise items. Yeah. So this is my thought. What's going on? Nano 505, appreciate you being here as well. Here's the deal. There are three people. We could go with three people because Wyatt just drops a really good name. One for each position, like offense, defense, special teams, right? Offense, defense, special teams. What's going on, Brian? Appreciate you being here. Yeah. This is mostly for the fan base in general, not just outside, Colts Nation, national media, or national fans or whatnot. But, so defensively, my number one guy defensively, Grover Stewart. Big time. Colts fans have no idea how important Grover Stewart is, except for maybe Ant Rodgers, who on my Patreon earlier today sent me a message, hey, can we get a film room on Grover freaking Stewart? This man's been my first patron. My very first patron was Ant Rodgers. So Ant Rodgers is getting a Grover Stewart film room. All right. I'm going to start working on it right after I get done with this live stream. Thanks for the suggestion, my guy. Because really, I've been sitting here going through the video, the all 20. Grover Stewart's so underappreciated. I've seen people say, trade Grover Stewart to go get this guy. Or we need another defensive tackle because without DeForest Buckner, we're trash, on the inside. That kind of stuff. I don't believe that personally. I think the backups behind Grover Stewart, DeForest Buckner, that's a problem. But I think Stewart and Buckner together are an incredible combination because Grover Stewart lost, what was it, like 20 pounds last offseason to get a little bit faster rather than just taking up double teams. He's now able to slice and dice and cut through offensive line a little bit quicker, get to the quarterback a little bit faster if he needs to, make those big plays behind the line of scrimmage, but still big and strong enough to hold his fort against double teams if need to be. You putting him beside DeForest Buckner, that's why our defense has the number 1 run defense, or number 2 run defense in the NFL. Right behind, I believe it was the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But it's not because of our linebackers or our edge rushers. All right? Those 2 defensive tackles hold their fort. Now, the linebackers do a great job flowing to make tackles, right? They do a great job of doing that. The edges do a pretty good job at sealing the edge, and holding that edge. But those tackles have to hold and not be moved off their mark. And that is why our run defense is so good and why Grover Stewart is so underappreciated even by Colts fans. And I will be showing that in our film room. Should probably be out tomorrow, right? I'm going to have 2 more. I already had 1 video today that popped up. I dropped it because I was like, I need to get this out. Just something I wanted to throw out there on my own as a film room. If you haven't watched it, go check it out. It's on my channel. It's basically how some quarterbacks can misuse their number 1 wide receivers and it ends up hurting them long term. As a quarterback, just kind of like Deshaun Watson, right? Deshaun Watson with DeAndre Hopkins, great quarterback. Last year without DeAndre Hopkins, he has the greatest year of his career, statistic-wise, not win percentage, but, in his own personal play, he played better than any other time that he's had prior without DeAndre Hopkins. And there's a reason for that. It's not that the offense is, less of an offense with a great player, because that's obviously nonsense. But there's a reason for it. Anthony Hurt says he thinks Hines is our offensive most underappreciated player. And that's not a bad pick. That's not a bad pick because, he does do a lot of stuff. He can run the football between the tackles, catch the ball, play slot when he needs to. Even for a little guy, he's not bad at going in and trying to protect the quarterback and that. But honestly, this is simple fact, and I've sat here and watched. You Colts fans do not appreciate Mo Alie-Cox enough. This man has gotten better and better and better year after year after year. And last year, because he had to sit and protect Phillip Rivers so much because he's such a really good blocker. He had to sit and protect Rivers on passing downs. He was in just as much as Jack Doyle was, right? He held I think the 6th most snaps offensively. But he just wasn't out on routes very often because he was asked to stay in and protect for Rivers. But when he did go out, he made catches. He made spectacular catches. And he had one of the, I think PFF rated him as the second most underappreciated player in somewhere, AFC or something like, I don't know, somewhere like that. Glowinski, yeah, Martin Hazel, that's a good question. Or that's a good one too. You know, Mark Glowinski is very underappreciated. We talk about the other offensive linemen so much, but you know, you're only as strong when it comes to the offensive line. They're only as strong as the weakest link, right? So, if the Colts are considered the second best offensive line in football, and they're only as strong as their weakest link, is Mark Glowinski truly the weakest link? It's a good question. You know, still must play at a pretty good level in order to have the second best offensive line in football, though. Think about that. But yeah, Mo Alie-Cox, he's a stud. He's a stud. We've seen what he could do. He's a mismatch nightmare when it comes to coverage, even though he wasn't used that way very much last year. And obviously, he can block. He's brought, when he's in on rundowns, he's a stud. He was used to help protect Rivers. But now with Carson Wentz, Colts Nation's going to see this. I am predicting that he'll have probably 500 or 600 yards receiving as a tight end. As a tight end. And that's saying a lot considering we got extraordinary receiving options on this team when it comes to wide receivers, running backs, you know, tight ends. We got, that's including our Kylan Granson, right? The rookie we just picked up. Mo Alie-Cox, offensively, easily, in my opinion, the most underrated player on this offense. Martin Hazel also talks about Jordan Wilkins. I think Jordan Wilkins just hasn't gotten enough touches. I agree. I think Jordan Wilkins is a really good running back, and he's our fourth stringer. I mean, his first two seasons, he led the NFL in average per run. For anyone with at least 50 carries or more in the season, he led the NFL in that. You know? And he was close to 6 yards a carry. And that's just how it works, man. Hey, I appreciate each and every one of you. It looks like I got about 16 viewers in here. So, thanks so much. Please don't forget to smash that like button. Please smash that like button. Hit subscribe if you're not subscribed. Tag that notification bell. Don't forget the share button down here if you want to share this to your social media or something. And again, like I said, pretty simple in the description below for the super chat option. I will accept it graciously. All right. Any super chats, use that one down there because it's a lot easier for me, honestly. And it helps me be able to, I also get that money immediately. It immediately goes into my system. And I get 96% of it. Or something like that. As opposed to 45% of what YouTube takes. But yeah. So, I have to go back. Special teams. Wyatt. Amen to you. Amen to you. I had to put, I completely forgot about bringing up special teams until you posted that question or that answer. He said, my answer on Twitter was Luke Rhodes never screws up a snap and he's taken for granted. There's a reason why we got a very good special teams unit. It's top in the NFL, right? Because we got a great long snapper. Colts have been so lucky to have really good special teams play over the years when it comes to kickers, punters, long snappers. You know, I mean, we've had a lot of good, lucky people. We've been so lucky to have these great people there. Luke Rhodes is one of them. I mean, how many people, even in Colts Nation, even knows who Luke Rhodes is? You never see Luke Rhodes throw up a high snap or or completely misfire or snap it early or anything of that nature. Plus, he's a good blocker. Have you seen this dude? Have you seen pictures of Luke? Go look up Luke Rhodes. Go Google Luke Rhodes ripped. And you'll see a picture of this dude. He looks like he's Super Saiyan 4, right? It's like, raw! I mean, he is a... Dude is cut. Dude is in shape. Man. He really puts a lot of hard work into his craft and into his body. And to me, you're right, Wyatt. I think Luke Rhodes is probably the most underappreciated guy on our special teams. Some people might say our gunners, like Odom. But honestly, he made all pro. There's a lot of Colts fans who know who George Odom is. Not many Colts fans know about Luke Rhodes. Or like not as many, right? Martin Hazel says, I love Mo Alie-Cox. His hands are as big as Andre the Giant. Well, did you see that catch in the end zone? Was it 2 years ago where he just reached up and like palmed that sucker right over the top, running backwards, walking into the end zone, and just palmed it, like just straight up, arms over his head, bloop, bam. Wow. And he's gotten better at route running. He had one mess up last year, which is why Colts fans think of him when Rivers threw the football and it hit him right here. And it was like basically from me to you. That's how far away he was from Rivers. And I guess he wasn't ready for it. It hit him here. And his hands didn't, he didn't try to catch it like this. He tried to catch it like this because it was like, oh my God, got to get my hands up real quick to catch it. And it bounced off his check, popped up in the air, got intercepted. Yeah, I'll guarantee from now on he'll have his hands out like this to catch footballs. That's called the diamond, right? That's how you catch a football. You spread your hands out like a diamond. You let that ball go right in between and your hands wrap around it. At least that's how I was taught to catch a football, through my coaches. I don't know about others, but the diamond was a big deal. We've been spoiled for well over 2 decades, Colts Loyalist says, when it comes to special teams. And we have. We have. This is facts. Nano says, did you see that Malik Hooker had a meeting with the Steelers? Yes, I did. I knew about it yesterday. Yeah, that'd be a good place for him to be, honestly. Because if Hooker is healthy, him and Minkah Fitzpatrick might be the best safety duo in the NFL. Think about it. Nobody's throwing deep against Minkah and Malik. Nobody. That'll make that defense that much scarier. And that's already scarier. UK Colts fans, what's up? Appreciate you being in here. Thank you so much. Had to be Braden Smith. Top 5 right tackle in the league, just doesn't get the recognition. Okay, here's the thing. I was talking about general Colts fans, not national media, just general in Colts Nation, who's the most underappreciated. I think Braden Smith is well appreciated through Colts culture, right? Most Colts fans appreciate him. I think when it comes to that, I think it's Mo Alie-Cox. And then on defense, it's Grover Stewart. And then we already talked about Luke Rhodes. Still going through here. Converted linebacker. Yep. I was going to mention Braden Smith, but I think Colts fans do recognize. Yeah, me too. I think so too. I think most Colts fans, a lot of Colts fans think he was snubbed for Pro Bowl, and I'm one of those. I'm one of those fans. Those fans that think that he should have went to the Pro Bowl. But like I said, that's why I was talking general, right? Like Colts Nation underappreciated, not national media underappreciated. That's why I wanted to get that out right away and let you guys understand and know what I was talking about. There's a lot of people out there. Now, I can also, Alie-Cox is one. There's another offensive player I think that is very underappreciated too, and that's Zach Pascal. All right? I think Zach Pascal is very underappreciated, even by Colts fans. Because I think he has steadily improved over the years that he's been with the Indianapolis Colts. And when he's been asked to step up and be that number one, he has stepped up into that role and produced. Right? And whatever the Colts ask him to do, whether it's block, whether it's go out for a catch, no matter what it is, he goes out there and gets the job done. So I think he is also a guy that I think may be a little underappreciated by the Colts, man. Zaire Franklin, linebacker, 3rd year, 7th round pick. Well, I mean, Matthew Adams too, right? I think they were both late round picks same year. They get a lot. They play a lot of special teams. I think they're both going to be fighting for who's going to be playing Sam linebacker this year. Brian says he's always appreciated Pascal. Didn't think I was alone. Yeah, I appreciate him. I don't bring him up a lot. I've noticed that. I know what Zach Pascal brings to the Colts. But at the same time, when you think about Michael Pittman or T.Y. Hilton, and then we talk a lot about Paris Campbell because of what he could bring when he's healthy. So, yeah. You know, and that ends up leaving Zach Pascal out of the conversation. And we absolutely shouldn't be doing that, you know. Absolutely should not be leaving Zach Pascal out of the conversation because he comes in and does a good job. I mean, he's never going to be listed as a top 32 wide receiver in the NFL. Whereas I think, you know, T.Y. has been. You know, I think Michael Pittman will be. I think if Paris Campbell stays healthy, will be. But the problem with Zach Pascal, he's just a good all-around wide receiver that's reliable, right? He's the way you felt about, I don't know if you guys were around, I feel about Zach Pascal the same way I felt about Brandon Stokely, okay? That guy who just wasn't a superstar and everybody knew his name throughout the NFL, but you knew when his number was called, he was going to do his job and do it effectively, right? That's how I feel about him. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. If you don't feel that way, let me know. But that's how I feel about Zach Pascal. He's just a very reliable guy who is going to do his job. You know? So I'm sitting here. I'm pretty much out of it now. I've talked about the underappreciated players. If you guys got other names you want to drop, I saw Reed dropped earlier. I've seen, you know, a couple other guys. You throw out some suggestions. If you're a fan of another team and you think that you have a guy who's incredibly underappreciated on another team, let me know that, right? Like if you're a fan of the Browns and you're watching, who's the most underappreciated player on your team, right? Or the Patriots or I don't care, the Falcons, you know? Just curious about it. Just curious about it. I got 18 viewers in here. The odds of having someone that's a big Falcons fan is very slim to none, but maybe one of you will watch later on, you know? I got a very loyal group of people. Speaking of loyal and reliable, you guys man, shout out to each and every one of you that watches this and joins me on my live streams, because you're the reason why I'm doing this. I just like talking about it and bringing stuff up, but the fact that you guys bring back a lot of positivity about what I provide, that allows me to not only keep doing it, but do it a lot more often and try to give you more and better topics and subjects to talk about. Delusional Pats fan, just go ahead and guess what team he roots for. Jacoby Myers is my underappreciated player. And he should be. Because I've done a film room on Jacoby Myers, and I said that this year will be his breakout year as a wide receiver. I really do believe that too. Even with all those new offensive additions that Bill Belichick went out and got for the Patriots, Jacoby Myers, I think, will be a very effective wide receiver. Buck says, appreciate you, Lawrence. Thank you so much. Do you have an underappreciated coach or front office? Ooh, great question. Colts loyal, Matt Conti. I think Matt Conti is incredibly underappreciated. He sets up him and the rest of the, guys that are in there that set up media and things like that. I mean, think about the people who do all these videos that you see on Twitter and on YouTube for the Colts organization. Those people, very underappreciated. The guys who set up for these pressers, keep them in line, reach out to guys like myself, right? And say, hey, we're going to set it up for you. They keep things flowing well. These guys, the Colts organization itself is a very well-oiled machine. And we have really Jim Irsay to thank for that, because, he's the one that's been setting that up for years and years and years. Pats fan says, you made a great film room, but it's taken too long for him to get snaps. It took too long last year for him to get snaps. Basically, Cam Newton wouldn't throw him the football until his primary wide receiver went down with an injury, and he had to find other people. And then once he started finding other people, he realized Jacoby Myers was his best option and started throwing to him. Had he been throwing to him from the get-go, he would have had a pretty darn good season last year. Aaron Stackel says it's got to be Mo Alie-Cox just getting in here. You were correct, at least for the offensive side. I had defensive, offensive, and special teams. It was Mo Alie-Cox was the most underappreciated, and that's for Colts fans. That's inside Colts Nation. Grover Stewart was my defensive guy, most underappreciated by Colts fans, by Colts Nation. And then Luke Rhodes, because, special teams, they're people too. Wyatt says entirely off topic, but I heard that on Dakich today, that's almost a cuss word in Colts Nation by a lot of people, that Andrew Luck didn't want to play for Chris Ballard. There was major reason he retired. Did you hear? Did I hear right? I did not hear it. Dan Dakich does not talk fondly of Chris Ballard, and he always talks poorly of Chris Ballard. He's been a Ryan Grigson fan, and he has never liked Chris Ballard in the way he runs the boat. So for him to say that, I understand. I mean, it doesn't surprise me, but I don't think that's the truth. I don't think that holds a lot of water, at least with me. But I didn't get the full. I mean, I don't. Did Andrew Luck come out and say I don't like Chris Ballard? Because unless he did that, then something like that's just not going to hold water with me. That sounds like a bunch of kind of hearsay. You know what I mean? Someone who's just coming up with guesses and trying to maybe kind of, I don't know, slander someone's name. I wish I was there and did see that and was while he was live, so I could come in and ask him questions. I would have called in. Oh, Fred Kirsch is on the Patriots.com one. Okay. Terrence Cooper, what's going on? Appreciate you being in here. How you been? I know someone in this live chat already beat me to it, but I believe the most underappreciated Colt in my eyes is Jordan Wilkins. Well, we did talk about Jordan Wilkins, and he is underappreciated. Being the fourth running back on this roster, was the third running back prior to Jonathan Taylor. Now he's the fourth. Still a very solid option, though. Not bad. Aaron says, agree with Grover and Luke. Martin says, sorry, gotta go. Daughter wants me to watch the Bama versus UCLA and women's softball World Series. All good, man. Appreciate you being here. Thanks so much. Thank you for being part of my Patreon and such. Thank you. Have a good one. Pats fan says it's kind of like how Tom Curran takes shots at Belichick. Yeah. I don't know Tom Curran. I'm assuming he's one of your local guys who likes to take shots at people just because. Oh wait, no, I know who you're talking about. Okay, because I've came in and we have discussed this as an outsider, as me being an outsider to the Patriots show a couple times. Yeah, kind of similar situation. So here's an interesting conversational topic. Whoa, Francisco donates $25, says keep up the good work, great content. Much appreciated. Thank you so much, man. That's studly right there. I really appreciate that, man. I will keep up the content as much as I can. Like I said, Aunt Rogers put out the suggestion for a Grover Stewart film room. I'm going to start working on that tonight. As a matter of fact, you know, if you guys ever have any suggestions, feel free. Patreon supporters get first suggestions at any film rooms that I do. So if you have suggestions for that and you're in Patreon, send me a Patreon message. If you're not in Patreon but would like to do it, it's only $5 a month, guys. $5 a month. That's like the cost of two liters of soda pop, whatever you want to call it, you know. It's nothing. And you get all my content, all my stuff that I drop here, plus stuff that I drop other places. And once I have 15, I'll start doing live streams and dropping links to the live stream so we all can just hang out and chat. All right. Appreciate you, Francisco Santos. Thank you so much. Another way, guys, if you want to support me, just smash the like button. Hit subscribe if you're not subscribed, and tag that notification bell so you're notified next time I go live. Christopher Flanagan, what's going on? Excited to see what Glasgow could bring to special teams again this year. He was fun to watch last year. Otherwise, I agree, Grover is the guy. Yeah, Jordan Glasgow's not a bad player, at least for special teams, but I just don't know if he's going to be able to make it at linebacker, you know. We got a lot of people. That's the thing about not being a starter on defense, is you need to be able to play special teams. And that's what Glasgow was brought in to do. He does a very good job at it. I agree 100%. Do you think Julio makes Tennessee Demon? I'm looking at that word, and I don't know if I can pronounce that properly. Do they make Tennessee better than the Colts? I'll just say it that way. I do not. I think they have an incredibly explosive offense. I think they may have the best overall offense in the AFC South. But I think it only nudges them just a little, like equal or above the Colts overall, offensively. But then you go to defense and you see a huge differential. And that's why I don't think that they're that much better than the Colts as a team in our division. They were still like, what, second half of the NFL in defense last year. They didn't really do a whole lot to help themselves this year. The Colts are still super. They basically brought back almost everybody except their pass rushers and Anthony Walker Jr., but they already had a replacement for Anthony Walker Jr. on the team when they let him go and go find somewhere else. And they wanted to get younger at pass rush, younger and faster, because when you're like 31 years old, 32 years old, you know, you're starting to slow down. They wanted to get younger at pass rush. So I think the defense will actually be better this year than what they was last year. And the Colts was, what, the 8th best overall defense last year? Whereas Tennessee was like 20-something, I think. So that's why I believe the Colts are still the team to beat. Even though Tennessee won the division last year off the legs of Derrick Henry, they lost their right tackle. They lost their number one. Julio going to him is great, but he's still got to get that connection with Ryan Tannehill. They don't have a tight end, right? They got Fursker and Swain. I almost bet at least half of the NFL fans don't even know who Anthony Fursker and Jeff Swain is, you know, let alone whether they know if they're good or not. They don't scare anybody on the tight end. They do have two great wideouts. They got an average to above average offensive line, in my opinion. A lot of people think that they got a great offensive line. I don't. I think they have a good offensive line. I'd say they're good offensive line. Now, I'm just curious how the backup right tackle is going to work this year. And then, of course, Derrick Henry and Ryan Tannehill. Will they split games in 2021 or will the Titans sweep? The Titans ain't sweeping the Colts. It didn't happen last year. It ain't happening this year. Thank you, Colts Loyalist, for sharing. Christopher Flanagan, fair point. Linebacker is really loaded this year. It is. Tennessee defense equals overpaying for Dupree and Autry. Because they got Danico Autry as well. He's an aging defensive end. Still productive, but an aging defensive end. And the Colts know how to block him. They practice against him every day of the year last year. It'd be Autry versus Braden Smith, basically, right? Braden knows how to handle Autry. Handled him all year. They lost Malcolm Butler. There you go. Joe says they lost way more than they gained this year. Yes, they did. Terrence Cooper, I fully agree. The Titans are not a better team than the Colts. Tennessee's offense is going to run different now that Arthur Smith is the Atlanta's head coach now. Again, yes. Because, Tennessee head coach, he ain't calling offensive plays. You know, he's not the one running the offense. He's a defensive-minded coach. Now they're going to have a completely different offense. Good call on that, Terrence. Francisco Santos says, the Julio move was cheap for Tennessee. Good value for them, in my opinion. But Tennessee's defense is still not good. As a win-now move, it was the best move that they could do. Francisco, in my opinion. I was afraid that they would get him. They were the third team that I thought was the best fit for Julio Jones. Number one being Green Bay, because had he been there, I think Aaron Rodgers would have been playing. And then who would want to play Green Bay with Julio Jones there, along with Devontae Adams and Aaron Rodgers? It's just, and Jones at running back. The Patriots, because that would give them a number one wide receiver, like a big-time go-to wide receiver, was my number two option. And then Tennessee, because now they got two big, strong, possession wide receivers on left and right side, plus Derrick Henry up the gut. Scary for most teams. I agree. But yeah, they're deep. They're going to have to they're going to have to wear down teams, wear down the defense, and outscore them in order to win games, I think, because their defense still isn't that good. The Dominator 89 says, hello, what's going on? Appreciate you. Colts Loyalist says, I don't know if half of Tennessee knows who they are. Must be talking about Jeff Swaim and Anthony Fersker. Yeah, you probably, well, I'm sure they know them. I mean, it's just like you and I, we know who, Jordan Wilkins is. No one else does, outside of Colts Nation. Jordan Wilkins is a nobody, right? As fans, they probably know pretty well. For what it's worth, they also lost Clowney. Clowney really didn't do a whole lot for him. Brayton Nicholas, what's going on? Appreciate you being here. The Titans have UDFA tight end I like and Briley Moore, but it's a completely unknown. Okay. Cool. Thanks for the information. I appreciate that. That's awesome. Yeah, I don't know a whole lot, and the tight end situation is a kind of an open thing. Losing Jonnu Smith is a big hit. It's a bigger hit than what a lot of people are going to admit. Because I think Jonnu Smith was one of the best overall rounded tight ends in the NFL, right? I kind of put him in with the line of George Kittle, but not quite George Kittle, you know what I mean? He's not at that George Kittle level, but he's at that second level of being an all-around tight end. Brian Walton, appreciate you. Always love having you here, man. That one guy, did you see Tannehill hitting 500 passing attempts for the first time in Tennessee? Do I see him? No. I do not see him having more than 500 passing attempts. They still have Derrick Henry. There's still going to be a run-first offense. And to me, Ryan Tannehill is best off play action. And for play action to work, you got to be able to run the ball not only well, but a lot, right? Which is going to take in a lot of reps and stuff like that. So, DJ Abcool subscribed. Thank you so much. Appreciate you for the subscription. But yeah, I think they need to do that. DJ Abcool says the most appreciated player was Anthony Walker. Not to me. In my opinion, Anthony Walker was just as important as Darius Leonard. And a lot of people think that I overappreciated Anthony Walker. I thought Anthony Walker, you saw the difference. Now, this is before last year when they got Bobby Okereke, okay? You saw the difference when Anthony Walker was in a game and when he wasn't in a game. Because players weren't in the right spot playing the right things. Anthony Walker was able to read an offense. Anthony Walker was able to get that information out to the other guys, get him in the right position to make a play. Anthony Walker was really good at reading and reacting against the run. you know. I mean, he led the Colts in the last 2 years in tackles. Last year, he had less snaps than Darius Leonard, but more tackles than Darius Leonard, right? Anthony Walker had a better rating against the pass last year than Darius Leonard did. Yes. I don't know if you Colts fans know this, but those are facts. But Anthony Walker wanted to be a full-time 100% starter. The Cleveland Browns said, absolutely. But we'll only give you a 1-year deal because we ain't got a whole lot of money because we already blew most of it. But that's what he wanted, so he went. And he wanted to play for a contender, and Cleveland is a very good contending football team in the NFL. I honestly think they're the second best team in the NFL. You know, maybe third, second or third. Them and the Bills are kind of, you know, right there, right now. I think they're the best team in the AFC North. That's just my opinion, but that, you know, that is my opinion. But yeah, shout out DJ Abcool, appreciate that. Aaron says, with the trade, I think we're going to find out how good RD is, facing two elite and the best back in the league, in my opinion. Okay, so I'm not as worried about Julio versus the Colts as a lot of people are. Because I got a film room on Xavier Rhodes. Before he came to the Colts, what was it? This time last year, I dropped one on him. He plays Julio very well when he's healthy. I mean, like lockdown well when he's healthy. His specialty is those big-bodied possession receivers, and that's what Julio is. The only problem is he can handle one side, but he can't handle both sides. So, I mean, A.J. Brown and Julio on the same team on opposite ends of the field is a problem for any team. I don't care if you're who you are. That's a problem for any team. And then, of course, obviously having to worry about, you know, stopping Derrick Henry as well. So, yeah. Brayton Nicholas says, the most underrated or underappreciated is Khari Willis. He is better in coverage than most strong safeties. He had a huge jump last year in coverage last year. I do agree. I think Khari Willis is a very good defensive player. I don't know if he's the most underappreciated. I mean, it's only his second season. We'll see how much he progresses this year as well. But I agree, he did improve last year. You saw the difference in the Steelers game last year with him being out, you know, where they couldn't throw the ball deep. And then when he goes out with a concussion, and all of a sudden, Ben Roethlisberger remembered how to throw the football down the sideline towards the strong safety side of the field. And he was making completions. He wasn't doing that while, you know, Khari Willis was there. Andre 3K85, I am a diehard Colts fan, but also a realist. Our wide receiver core is talked about as underrated and not respected in the league. They have potential, but haven't done anything outside of T.Y. and Pitt. I get that. And you know why? Okay. Obviously, Campbell's been hurt. Phillip Rivers was unable to take advantage of speed receivers, you know, that deep threat, to be able to stretch the field. I think with a guy with a gun, as long as he doesn't turn the football over, Carson Wentz will showcase the speed that the Colts have at wide receiver a lot better than what Phillip Rivers. Phillip Rivers, I think, was better for your big-bodied possession receivers because he was an accurate quarterback. He could throw the ball just in a place where receivers could catch it. That's why he was good with over there in the Chargers, because they had two of those guys, right? With the Colts, they have more speed. They got speed and possession receivers because Zach Pascal, Michael Pittman Jr., big possession receivers. T.Y. Hilton, Paris Campbell, speed receivers. I agree. And we'll see what happens this year, man. Thank you. Delusional Fat Pats fan. Imagine traveling back in time and tell yourself 5 years ago that Cleveland could be a top team in the AFC. I would smack myself and say, get your head out your butt. And so would everybody else. Browns fans would do that. Right? But let's be honest, the Browns are one of the best teams in the NFL. They are one of the most complete teams. They're like Indianapolis, right? They are a very complete team. The only thing is we know what we're getting with Baker Mayfield. We don't know what we're getting with Carson Wentz. We know what we hope we're getting with Carson Wentz, but we don't know for sure, and that's why the Browns are rated higher, at least in my opinion. If Wentz fixes up his plant foot, look out. Colts all have the pieces on offense, but tight end is a little sketchy. I don't think tight end's sketchy. What's up, Joe Thornburg? Appreciate you being in here. Now look, I actually like the tight end group for the Colts. People think that the Colts tight ends weren't good last year because they were never thrown to. But they never went out for routes because they were always held in. They were always held in to protect Rivers because Rivers couldn't move. The only one that really didn't matter if you held him in or not was Trey Burton because Trey Burton couldn't block for jack. So you might as well have him running out on a route, even on run plays. Jack Doyle is a security blanket tight end. I think Alie-Cox is a matchup nightmare. Plus, he's a good blocker. That's why he was held in so much last year. And then we'll see about Kylan Granson. I think that he can surprise people. A lot of people think Kylan was a reach in the fourth. I think that's about where he probably should have been grabbed. He's got Trey Burton qualities, but is a better blocker by far than Trey Burton. All right? That's how I feel about that. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been over an hour. I appreciate each and every one of you being here. Thank you for the donations from Lucas Celeste, from Francisco. Thanks for the new subscriber and DJ Abcool. Appreciate each and every one of you. Please don't forget, got my Patreon. I got 10 patrons. Let's bring those names back over here. Once I have 15, we'll be getting group live streams together, right? Just for Patreon. Just us. It's only $5 a month. Link to find it is down in the description of the video. Don't forget to smash that like button. Hit subscribe if you're not subscribed. Tag that notification bell so that you're notified next time I go live. Make sure all notifications are turned on. And, yeah. Don't forget the link to this stuff is in the description down here. My merch shop. Really good merchandise. Reasonable prices. Be great for a Father's Day gift. That's coming up. I'm just saying. Hey, I'm trying to sell my stuff, man. One of the hats. All right. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate each and every one of you. But until next time, I'm Lawrence Owen. This is Colts Law. And as usual, have a good one.